What is up, YouTube? Welcome back. It's Keith and John once again, milking you for all the video content I can get while I'm here in person. And we're going to try and build a game. We're just going to try and brainstorm some stuff, come up with some ideas, maybe get something that we could build a prototype of in the future.
Yeah, and if we do produce a prototype, we'll show all of you and we'll walk you through our design process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is this, what we're trying to do is kind of like an improvisational design challenge to kind of do something on the spot. John was trying really, really hard all day to be like, hey, this is what we should do. We should start with this. This is an idea. And I'm like, no, it's got to be on the spot.
Well, you know, now that I had an idea. So a while ago, I made a game about the Victorian recycling crisis.
Which I like very much, by the way. And
Thank you.
You should actually get that published and finished and
yeah.
make one for me.
Thank you. Well, maybe I will one day. But I was thinking about other crises that we could use for inspiration. At the moment, we have a housing crisis. A lot of people our age cannot afford homes.
Is that the specificity of the crisis?
No, well, there's other things. There's a lot of people who have been displaced by bushfires and other things, but that's a bit dark, and we're not going to go into that.
Okay.
So we could make a board game about how we can go about solving a housing crisis.
Okay. I think that's fine.
Yeah, so that's one idea.
Because usually there's two schools of thought when it comes to game design. Theme first and mechanic first. This is kind of theme first.
It's definitely theme first.
But it's also like objective based, where what is the product trying to accomplish rather than entertain people. So a lot of times it's entertain people. Sometimes products exist, which is like specifically we're trying to solve a problem or we're trying to teach people a skill or something. Whereas this is specifically towards explaining the crisis in such a way that you could lobby your members of parliament or whatever to actually do something.
It's true.
For a change.
It's true. In fact, some of my favorite games are social games, like games about social problems. Like there's this online game. I can't remember what the name was anymore. But it's all about living in New York with $1,000 and trying to survive for a month without a job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's real intense. Like I haven't beaten it yet, where I've actually been able to survive for a month with $1,000 in New York. Yeah, so that's intense. They're fun. They make you think, and afterwards you're like, oh, I learned something. Okay. And the best thing is that that game, actually, the data in it changes because they mine it off like the
actual real world statistics.
Wow,
so that's kind of cool.
When the real world gets better based on the census, the game gets easier.
That's crazy.
That's funny. Yeah.
So for the housing crisis, first thing I'm thinking, we need an economic system.
True. Wait, is that the final idea, or are we going to like?
Well, it doesn't. Like, I'm happy for us to pick a theme and not on a theme.
I feel like we should have
because I'm a mechanic first designer.
Well, we were talking. So unfortunately, we were talking about sand timers.
We were goofing around with sand timers. We're not going to goof around with sand timers today because we don't actually have any here.
Yeah, we don't have any sand timers, but we did come up with a way to potentially fix sand timer problems.
Maybe.
So we'll talk about that another time. Watch this space.
But I'm happy to stick with that theme.
Okay, well,
that's fine.
I want to go with a mechanics idea. I want to throw you, not necessarily on that.
Oh, just in general.
Yeah, I want to come.
Oh, you want me just to like blind pitch you a mechanics idea?
I want you to tell me about something you don't like about a particular mechanic, and we're going to go about trying to make it better.
Okay. Most of the stuff that I complain about existing mechanics is their lack of agency that it gives players, or that it's like not thought through enough so that people have enough flexibility in how it works. Usually in player agency. Right?
That being said, now I think about it, you describe a lot of your games as a version of this other game that fixes this problem I don't like. So this should be your element.
That's what I do. Yeah. But usually I have a launching point because it's like I played this, I have this experience. It sucks, but I like these things that I want to keep and fix.
Okay.
So like Spaceship Redoubt is me playing coup and going in the economy system, and this is dog shit needs to be removed.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add all this other stuff.
Okay.
Team-based objectives, basically, to solve that problem. And it makes basically a whole new game, but it keeps like the core character interaction that coup has and builds upon it.
Mm.
And so if that's how you wanted to do this, you would have to find a game that interacts with the housing crisis as the theme. For me to then go, okay, here's how I fix the housing crisis in that game.
Yeah, that'd be a challenge. I was thinking outside of housing crisis. I was trying to look for
Just in general.
Yeah,
It's really funny to feel like, what if we fix Monopoly and the housing crisis in one go?
Actually, that'd be fun. Okay, so no, it's not just housing crisis.
Yeah, so
it's
step one.
Socialism.
Step one, no one should have a monopoly. Step one, we remove capitalism. Actually, we create a board game about the steps required to get from where we are today to not having capitalism.
Okay.
The end goal is to like institute socialism in your country. How to get on the no-fly list? Like speedrun any percent.
I think we could call the game Marxism.
Marxism.
No, Marxism, but make it look like the Red Book. And then make it about going from a capitalist to socialist society.
Speedrun any percent.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a concept.
That's crazy, honestly.
That's ridiculous.
The sand timers and how quickly you can overthrow capitalism.
Oh wait, no. We aren't going to use sand timers. But I had another idea this morning on the train that I thought was worth considering. It was a graphic design game.
Oh, that's right.
Where you're trying to make a poster or the front of a
Actually, it'd be really
magazine.
cool if it was a board game box. I was one that went to a magazine, but a board game box graphics design game about graphics designing a board game box. Would be actually really funny. I immediately went to when you were like, you're doing compositions for graphics design stuff, I immediately went to magazine cover. So I feel like maybe that's a touchstone for me or something. But this is way more meta and thematic.
I'm wondering. So it came from me looking at this box, which
is tea.
Yeah, it's a tea box. But for the graphic design fans out there, this is actually made from two colors: the red on the apple and the blue on this person's shirt. When you put red and blue together, you make purple. And then the ink is printed over the top of each other to make this effect. It's called overprinting. And as a graphic design nerd, this is like my jam. Anyway, this is what inspired me to think of making a game about graphic design, especially considering it's a useful skill for all you graphic designers board game designers out there to get. So that could be a good game.
Semi-vague to a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it fit a nice niche. Okay, so that's definitely a concept. Do you reckon... Okay, that's 3 concepts. Let's pick one and go with that. Which one are you... out of housing crisis, capitalism to socialism, and graphic design game, which one do you want to try and tackle?
Well, 2 of these things I think are going to end up in an economic system.
Yeah?
So maybe pass, let's do the graphic design game.
Okay, graphic design game it is. So, we talked about...
Just so I don't have to have currency in the prototype.
Poster, board
it's like such a lazy,
box.
selfish choice, but still.
No, it's okay. I think economics has also been done to death.
Yeah, a lot of your bigger, I want to say Euro.
Yeah.
Not your Euro type stuff.
I mean, maybe what could be interesting is trying to approach the housing crisis from a non-economic perspective.
Like a spatial perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I think the housing crisis is definitely caused by economics in our particular case, but mainly economics caused from terrible government policy where it makes sense to turn what should be a necessity for everyone, what should be a right, into a commodity that can be, gamed for profit, which is kind of sad.
Not even like active profit, like passive profit.
Yeah. Kind of sad. Anyway, graphic design game. So we were talking about like magazine cover, a board game box cover, and a poster. So I was talking about a poster first. I reckon that they could be like different levels, like different things you try to design. So they're like the like you start with one. I mean, let's pick one.
Maybe let's come back to that.
Let's
just do board game box to start with.
Okay.
Because I think if you're creating a game that's gonna market towards the hobby board game market, you know this is a theme that's gonna resonate with them because they have board game boxes.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
So at least start with that because we don't know if we're gonna split off into other ones soon. So this might mechanically change the theme because like a magazine cover is composed very differently to a board game box.
Yeah, so the only my only concern is that a board game box is actually a 3D object.
We're just going to assume we're talking about the front.
Only the front.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, that's what the...
To make it on par with the other stuff.
Front of board game box. Okay. Actually, can we do the back of a board game box?
Why do you prefer the back?
Because the back has a lot of more instructions and a lot more information you got to fit in.
Yeah.
While the front is usually title, picture to draw
credit.
Someone in.
Yeah.
And maybe some logos.
Sometimes credit.
Yeah.
Logos, yeah.
Which is not like that's more about illustration.
That's true. Yeah. It's fair call.
Yeah. So we're going to do back of board game box.
Back of board game box is usually barcode. Setup of game render. Blurb. What else am I thinking? If you didn't have credits on the front, maybe you have credits on the back. Maybe you've got stuff like play count, time to play, ages, sometimes.
Game. Blurb is like / the experience. It's probably like a quote or something to explain the world, like, of the game, to bring people into the world.
Oh, like the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
There's a murders of two words of manners, but the elevator pitch of
Exactly.
any server reverse murder mystery. So I guess like an elevator pitch kind of.
Call it the pitch.
Yeah. Like a highlighted section of text that's not just the explanation. Or the because sometimes the board game components render will have like a bunch of accompanying text that explains what you're looking at.
And then, like small. I call this like the credits section where it's like designed by blah.
I have a problem now.
Yeah.
These sections. If we turned all of these sections into components that represented commonalities amongst board games, and you're mix and matching things. You're just making a board game about being a board game designer rather than a graphics designer.
So here's where the challenge comes in, right? This is the interesting thing that we will have. The idea that I had was, imagine this is the box, right? You have different sections. So like there'll be like titles, or there'll be different copies of these things. And you as players have to come up with different ways of putting it together on the box that achieves all the thing, like all of the requirements that you have. That was the basic concept I have. So this is why we're coming up with these: barcode, blurb, setup of game, pitch, etc. These are all the things you've got to have on your back. Like this is another reason why we should go back to these, because there will be different things.
That's why I said pick one, because each one of them will be completely different.
Yeah, but that could be a good thing, because you might find out that you on the back of your board game you could be laughing.
You're making a poster and you're holding a barcode.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe. We don't know what the core mechanics are yet.
Yeah.
We just identified key
things
areas.
that need to be in it.
Yeah, points of interest.
Okay, well, I think we've done enough of that.
What's our key mechanic going to be? How do we communicate graphics design to someone through a board game mechanic?
I think you're trying to win together.
So it's cooperative.
Yeah, I reckon it's a cooperative game, because what you're trying to do is everyone is trying to achieve the requirements of the client. because that is exactly what you're doing in a
Okay, all right.
design.
I'm getting a tingle.
Yeah.
We forget these things.
Okay.
We have, it's a talking game,
Talking game.
and it's like a deck of cards or whatever, and on the cards is stuff like the requirements of the client,
Okay.
the expectations of your industry, which might include some of these things.
Okay.
And then each of the different people is the head of graphics design or whatever, trying to give final say over the product. And so like one person starts out and goes, this is what it would look like, and they describe it.
Okay.
And then the next person has a thing that says, oh, it must have this on it or whatever. And they have to then explain why it would have, why they disagree with it or whatever.
Oh.
And it has to somehow cooperatively, have you played Too Many Cooks?
This sounds like Boardroom, the game.
Yeah, or maybe a little bit, I don't know.
I actually love this idea.
In Too Many Cooks, you've got cards that say the soup must have specific organizations of ingredients. And then, but the only way that you can communicate what your goal cards, what the other person's goal cards, is by expressing how happy or unhappy you are. And I'm giving a similar vibe out of this, where it's like you have a card that says the poster must have an air guitar on it, and then you have to now express how that's going to be included in it. This is still more illustration than graphics design, unfortunately.
No, this is okay. They all have requirements for the design.
But this means that we can have poster, board game, box, magazine cover, because it'll have different prompts that the first person gets.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So I've managed to eliminate my shitty, complicated side journey to come back to the original brief.
Yeah, that's
which I think is actually a impressive thing, an important skill.
But now what we've done is we now know what each player isn't the graphic designer, they're the creative executive.
Yeah.
Who says, no, my vision is this.
Yeah.
For the thing.
Yeah.
And it needs to have an air guitar and a barbecue pork bun.
I need you to make a poster that has an air guitar on it. Yeah.
And then I think the what we should have in the game is a bunch of like cards on with pictures on perspex, and you're trying to like put them together, and then there's rules for where you can put them on the design.
That's much more like graphics design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting. So you have to find a way to put your you would have a space, which is the poster or whatever, and the cards don't just like overlap one to one. The card is just like a specific component. So you might have a card that is the barcode, and the product you're trying to make doesn't need a barcode.
Yeah.
But for you to get that card out of your hand, you have to justify why this poster has a barcode. And all of a sudden you're like, it's a collectible.
Ooh.
Also, like all the posters at W and shit have a barcode on the packaging.
Do they?
On the packaging.
Graphics
design kind of includes packaging.
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is a package, and this is definitely graphic design. In fact, there's a whole specialized area of graphic design called packaging design, which is like a nice mixture between industrial design, which is like designing things, and graphic design.
Exterior to that, because what I'm thinking is the board game box is not packaging. The board game box is still product.
It's
shrink wrap is packaging, and the barcode's kind of in the shrink. It's been a long time since I purchased a poster. I keep making my own.
Technically.
But that's the kind of conversational journey you'd have to have. You'd have to justify the existence of this weird component card that you have. But like the component card might make a lot of sense for a more product-centric design job, but might not for others. And then you have to figure out how to... I mean, the barcode's probably a really easy, maybe, example. Or like a movie poster is probably different to a product poster, or a fashion poster, or something like that. So maybe there's like product, genre, or industry, or something like that. And then like... actually, Steve has a game. Have you played Identity Crisis?
No.
So Identity Crisis is like a deck of cards that are all like descriptors, and you flip 3 cards, and then each person has to try and suggest a known entity that matches the 3 criteria. So, for example, it could be, has dead parents, wears a cape, fights crime. You go, that's Batman.
Yeah.
Right? So
but
you might have
could
something
also
like this.
say that it's Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, it could be any number of people.
He killed Voldemort. He killed crime.
But it would be like, here's your 3 criteria. It's a poster. It's music themed. And it's, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have a couple of qualifiers. And then people have to find ways for their cards to fit in the space in such a way that could be argued to satisfy the things. So the barcode might not be to sell the poster. The barcode might be on the air guitar, and that's how we know they've purchased an air guitar.
Right. I'm getting confused. But what I like, okay, so when we were talking about the board game and creative executives.
Yeah.
So I'm a theme-based designer, by the way. So I'm like all trying to use the theme to drive the design. Yeah.
I try and justify all of the mechanics thematically because I want it to be highly immersive. But the mechanic is the thing that I lead with.
So
which is funny because in this conversation, right, you've been like, what is the thing? What is the theme constantly? How does the theme interact with what we're doing without ever being like, and then that's how it works. And the entire time is like, what the fuck can I make this theme do?
Yeah. So I'm thinking that there are I work in a corporate place, and what's really funny is when you're sitting in a meeting with all of these different important people trying to make decisions together because each of them has a secret agenda that they're trying to get out of each other so that they can work together or achieve their goals for the year.
Yeah.
And sometimes my agenda might be to squeeze you for as much money as I can so that I can get all of my goals done for the year because the last year you've been achieving all of yours and you got extra dough that I reckon
your
I can
department
use.
Needed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But in a creative executive area, what you're actually looking for is that my involvement created more of the fantastic big selling idea than you did so that people keep listening to me.
Getting the person with the most cards out of their hand.
People who achieve the most of their secret creative requirements is the aim of the game.
You have your poster space.
Yeah, poster space.
Each person's got a number of cards in hand, and getting to 0 cards is the maximum score you could achieve. You have to play a card and justify the experience of that, a clear thing. It's got like a weird component on it or whatever that could be in. You have to justify why it satisfies the goals and fits into the brief and should be in this spot on the poster.
Right.
And everyone else has to agree or come up with a better solution. But your barcode on the air guitar is a good idea, but you've forgotten one thing. This card that I have, the actual guitar, fits better in this circumstances. And people go, oh, well, obviously an air guitar is going to match better in a music genre than a barcode will. And go, okay, whatever. So it might be a rotating thing of you have like active pitcher, the next person along has an opportunity to counter negotiate, and then you have like an adjudicator that has like final say or something like that. Like a non-pitching judge.
Yeah, so you're thinking...
it becomes like a pitching game.
Oh, okay. So you're on a pitching game. Because I was thinking of a group communication game.
Because that's what I want, but I feel like having everyone agree with it when there's points on the line is not going to work out.
Now, my thought was, it's the aim of the game. So my idea is that everyone has secret requirements, and you're trying to make sure that the end result achieves all your secret requirements. Okay. But so is everyone else. And what the whole idea is, if there's too many people involved, you're probably going to make something shit. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to achieve what you want, and then convince enough people around the table that design looks good. Okay. And that design is going to get everyone the most points.
Instead of a judge, I'm so on board with you right now. Yeah. Instead of a judge, your secret requirement card is how you have to argue to say why their thing wouldn't fit.
Yeah, so you have your you have a thing you've got to have on the poster. You've got a placement of where it's got to be on the poster.
That's interesting.
But then you've also got cannot have something in this plate area of the poster, or cannot have this thing.
Okay.
And then
right.
you're trying to. So if it doesn't have that thing, it's worth a point. If you have that thing on the poster, it's worth a point. And if
Something's
it's placed in that spot, it's like worth double or something.
Okay. So I'm with you.
And then you're trying to argue with where things should be on the design with everyone else. And then more, if your design lines up with other people, more people are going to agree. And in order for it to exist on the poster, all you need is the majority.
So people vote on every single thing.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how you would deal with the rest of it, but that's the core.
You had me
idea.
until voting.
Yeah.
I think voting will slow the game down so much it'll become painful.
Well,
at a play count beyond 4.
Okay. So if we're not gonna do it with voting, do you have another idea of how you could take the same idea and twist it so it's not voting?
We had me at everything before voting.
Okay, cool.
I really like so we have the overall setup cards, right? That's like, this is what needs to be thematically for the job. So that's like the client's request. The client's request. The client says, I'm looking for a poster for a movie. And then you are the creative team and you're coming down and you go, okay, this is what I've got. And you're dealt a hand that's going to have a random shit. That's probably never going to line up realistically with the client demand cards. And then you have your secret requirement cards that say where and how it's got to be placed and where and how other stuff should not be placed. And then now we've got to figure out how the player has to communicate those things to other people without saying it. And I think maybe...
without saying it.
Without saying what their secret card is.
Yeah.
So I think maybe rather than a hey, show of hands thing, maybe it's like you have like a limited number of votes and you have like vote tokens that you spend to say no to things. And so a certain number of no's means that something does not get passed. So if someone does something and you go no, and then no one else goes no, it gets through. But if you go no and someone else goes, oh yeah, I can no, because there might be benefits to other people denying other things beyond their goals being met as well. For example, you can have like a lot of Euro games have the everyone can achieve these goals as well as the secret goals. So the everyone can achieve these goals might be I have the most cards on the table, or I have the least no votes, or like so weird stuff like that. That'll be like randomly done so that people have incentive to no vote for stuff that's not their secret card, so that when they do no vote for something, it's obviously not just their secret card. So now there's a kind of a fucking bluffing deception element to it as well.
Which actually I really
I've
like.
I've become a fucking one-note person.
No, you haven't. This is
Peaked.
Well, I picked we picked a game. We turned what was the graphic design game into something that it actually works.
I thought pitching was a good solution and having a judge, but I agree that it doesn't match thematically. And then my backup plan is really what you described, is I have the secret goal for what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm trying to figure out what your secret goal is and stop you from doing that or squeezing you for money, that whole thing.
Okay.
Just rewind the video to that point where John said the really insightful thing I'm trying to reference, and then skip back to here.
Yeah, cool. We're going to do a clap now because we're going to do a montage of making stuff.
All right, so we've just finished our big arts and crafts adventure, of which I am terrible and tired. And I realize I've actually made some mistakes, like a whole bunch of things that we can laugh at later.
Yeah.
But now here's the really fun challenge where John's going to explain to me how to play the game.
Okay. So
using the cards.
The premise of the game is that we are both creative directors, right? And we are trying to achieve some secret goals that we have here.
Can't really see it on the camera, but that's okay.
Yeah, so
it's just literally words written on the piece of paper.
Yeah, you can have a secret goal, no people. You can have a secret goal of nothing out of the border. I don't think we've done a border.
On out of border. We determined the
we still need
space.
We still need to
a
create
blank
that.
sheet of paper
Yeah.
for now.
Okay. Secret goal, only 2 colors. You get the drift. I might have to reverse the video so you can actually read this shit.
I would do that, yes.
Yeah, okay, sweet.
I have that problem a lot.
We're gonna quickly shuffle these. I'm gonna give some to Keith. I'm gonna take some.
And this is our poster space.
Yeah.
You can't see it on the video, but I've put on the table a space where our
This is where our poster is gonna be. So here, you have one, I'll have one, you have one. Yeah, I'll take that one. No. Oh well, shuck it. Whatever. You have that one, I have this one. We've got two secret goals. Yeah. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make sure that on this piece of paper, these 2 secret goals have been achieved. We're also being asked by the client. So these secret goals are like what we're trying to do to make sure that the creative direction goes our way. We're also going to try and make the client happy. Now, these are going to be objects that the client wants on the picture. And if we don't include it, we don't get paid. So we have to include this thing. It's mandatory. So we're going to get 2 each.
What? No, this is global.
Oh, it's global. Okay. Let's do your 2.
Keith explains the game.
This is global. There you go. We have in this, we need to include dice. And we need to include a big smile. I don't know what this hat is for. Or this poster is for.
And that's it. I think it was
2? No, we need at least 3.
Okay, 3.
3, yeah. Last one is a barbecue. Dice, a barbecue, and a big smile.
And we have our secret goals.
Yeah, now we have the secret goals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Yeah, okay. I already have problems.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to take objects from the... I don't know what we should deal them out. I haven't designed this.
I don't have any clue, dude.
You know what? We're gonna take the big smile out.
We built a prototype and we don't know what the game is yet.
We're gonna take the dice out. And we're gonna take the barbecue out. So the 3 things we've got to include. And then it's up to us if we want to add more. And then we're gonna justify why we add more. So I reckon I'm gonna take a turn. I don't know if this should have turns.
You can just pick anything out of the deck and add
take one and I'm gonna add it. And I'm gonna add it where I think it should be.
Uh-huh.
This is really challenging.
Yes, it is.
Holy shit!
I already have conflicting goals with the client requests.
I have conflicting goals as well. Like, okay, so this is a really poorly designed game. What the fuck are we doing?
So he drew all the pictures and I wrote all the client requests and the secret goals. And they're all shit.
Yeah.
They're all so bad.
Oh shit. That's okay.
All the client requests are like literally just the names of the cards that he drew the pictures of, and then all the secret goals is like it can't have cards in it.
Yeah, it can't have. Okay, well, actually, I can achieve one of these. So I'm gonna take these
have a go.
Objects.
Try and score them as many points as you can.
I'm gonna do this. This dude looks like he's driving the car.
Okay, I'm already unhappy.
To the barbecue.
I would like to say no.
No, yeah, okay. Have a go. So I've just taken an opportunity. I'm just gonna quickly pick up this thing. I know it's gonna make people feel freaky.
The board state.
So I've just put.
Dude, you're so. Just turn it around. Just
what?
Use the. It's his first day with the phone. It's just
there you
like
go.
this. You can see
There
what
you
you're
go.
pointing it at.
So here you go. We've got the happy smiley dude, which is there, big smile. We've got our dice. I reckon he should be there. He's driving to the barbecue. Hopefully this will be good.
Ideally, the cards will be transparent, so you can have the big face where the driver's seat would be.
Exactly.
That would make more sense. Now, 2 problems based on my secret goals. Problem number 1, I have to remove the big smile. Problem number 2, I can't have the big smile and the barbecue.
But there's literally you can't have cards. Okay, what did you have? Hang on, let's turn this round.
So goals are no people and only 2 colors.
Okay.
The client request is, well, it's got to have a person in it, and the other 2 things, except the dice, has a color.
Yeah, but we have only 2 colors. So we have
red and yellow.
Yellow and red. So
Unless
you've
if you
achieved
count
that.
White, like count the dice being white specifically.
Okay. I have got nothing metallic. So I can't have the barbecue anyway. Or the car. Well, this technically doesn't have anything metal in it except
I guess the dashboard is leather.
Yeah, but I do have nothing on out of border, so we have achieved 2.
Okay.
Working together.
I would say this is cooperative.
Yes, this is our cooperative thing.
We passed because 50% is a passing grade.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this back.
Yeah, facing the wall.
Yeah, so we designed this game in like no time at all, and we both failed, kind of.
Well, I think yes, we failed in completing a product, but that's fine. Like the cycle of game design is idea, create prototype to test the idea, find out what's not good, and then iterate on it to improve it, which takes you back to design idea. And then once you think you fixed the problems, it takes you back to making a new prototype, and it evolves over time through that. And so this, as a first prototype, is unplayable.
Yes.
But...
Well, actually, no, technically we played.
Okay.
Kind of.
I'll take it.
And it sucked. It's just really badly designed.
Under duress, I agreed that we had played the game. Yes, my client and secret goal choices don't work with the very limited pool that we have.
Yeah.
We needed to make many more cards and many more illustrations for this to work, because I literally wrote things that are yeses and nos, and we drew nos, and then now like we just can't do that thing. And we also were just like kind of playing out of the deck with whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
If we have like 4 or 5 people and these overlap in different categories, so if you have a couple of different things that are dice, or a couple of different things that could be barbecue, a couple of different things that could be a big smile, kind of like how Dixit works. Like I feel like you can play this game with Dixit cards, but you have written down what the secret goals are and what the client requests are.
Yeah, I like the
Maybe
idea.
that's the next step. Maybe we just pilfer Dixit and use the art and then write down goals and where these things overlap, like must be fantasy themed.
Yeah.
Stuff
True.
like that.
I was thinking though that we wouldn't be able to have the whole color thing going on.
Yeah, we could.
Not in the same way.
Not
You
exactly
have
how I
multiple
wrote it,
colors and
but
Dixit.
it would be must have red.
Yeah.
Or must not have red, or something like that.
We could take the pictures from Dixit and desaturate them so only one color is showing. Like make them all in sepia.
We have to do graphics design for our graphics design game?
Yeah, graphic design.
But yeah, something like that could also work. Having the one key color comes back to what we were doing, but I feel like also we were just kind of doing this because our tool's limited.
Yeah, that's true. But the key thing I do want to mention though that we both had fun laughing at what we were doing.
Yeah, what you didn't see in the split up montage is us talking a lot of shit, making a lot of mistakes, and laughing about a lot of different things.
And I legitimately enjoyed the concept that we were going for. If this was streamlined and iterated and designed properly.
We also didn't put in like yes or no votes for some of that other stuff that we mentioned.
We didn't do that either.
We're a bit limited for components, yeah.
Yeah. Or at least we're trying to do stuff at later.
So we're going to open up Dixit. We're going to take all the cards that are Dixit. We're going to open up where words. We're going to take all the yes and no votes out of where words, and then we're just going to write down some secret goals and some client requests. And it's a game.
Yeah, I think so.
I've actually made a lot of games. Just like I'm just going to like rip out an entire other game, like steal all the meeples out of Carcassonne or something like that.
The number
it's totally fine to do.
So many people do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what we did for Scofter.
I bought Scrabble to never play Scrabble and just use Scrabble tiles for other games. Like it's totally fine. Go to your local Goodwill and buy crap board games for cheap to steal and reuse their components.
And if you don't have Goodwill, you've always got Salvos.
Well, we don't have Goodwill in Australia.
Yeah.
We've got Salvos,
Savers.
W has some cheap stuff that I like to raid.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Chinese import knockoff versions of games that make it to Big W.
Yeah.
So when I was making Let It Drop, I got 4 different Connect 4 games, none of which are called Connect 4. It's because I needed the grid thing, because you can't really prototype that.
It's true, you can't. Anyway, that is our ridiculously short game design. The key thing I liked about this was there was a thought and feeling that I think we were going for.
Yeah.
And I feel like we kind of got there in terms of what the theme could be, like what the theme could feel like. And
I honestly didn't envision a party game.
Yeah,
from the
neither did
start.
I.
From the prompts at the start.
But a graphic design party game sounds pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. This is a concept. Let's do it.
Coming to a Kickstarter campaign near you. Probably not.
It'll make you feel like this.
Yeah, probably just for fun. But that's it from us today. And once again, John, our celebrity guest, game designer, coming in doing some game designing celebrity guests.
Thank you, Keith.
So
this guy's a legend. Thank you.
I'm trying hard to be. But that is it from us. It is very late and I would like to go to bed instead of being up late doing blog and video content for the channel. And if you did like this, I do actually have a whole bunch of other stuff. John and I went through and did a whole bunch of talking about stuff today. We're going to have another video about player psychographic profiles, which is funny because we probably could have talked about a bunch of that when building this. So that's definitely worth having a look at. I'll probably put a couple of buttons up on screen. They're probably covering my face right now as I'm talking to you. So you can be clicking on those things to be checking out some of those other videos because there is other cool stuff on this channel that's not just board games. We have Magic the Gathering, some Marvel Snap stuff, a whole bunch of things that are worth checking out. And while you're clicking on those buttons, you might as well click on the like and subscribe button while you're in a clicking mood, while you're exercising that pointer finger.
Now, just one last thing. If you want to make games, this guy organizes Tabletop Tuesdays. So you should go to his next one that he organizes. So watch this space. He'll give you all the details. And if you're in Melbourne, you should totally find the Incubator Melbourne Facebook group, or you can find it through the TGDA. I'll often post events there. And then you can come to an event in Melbourne and meet me, and I basically help run the in-person events. Otherwise, the TGDA runs online events if you have Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia. So, keep designing and hope you have a great time.
And we'll see you in the next one.